Some basic concepts of chemistry. To start with, we will know what is matter. Matter is defined as something that has mass and occupy space. And examples for matter is innumerable. The book, the pen, the desk, the benches, the things that you look around are nothing but matter. And based on the physical state, matter is classified into three types. I'll be clear, based on the physical state, matter is classified into three types. That is solid, liquids and gases. That is, at normal temperature and pressure, matter can be classified into three types: solids, liquids and gases. To look into the properties of solid, liquids and gases, solids, as we all know, that is rigid. The particles are very closely packed, they are incompressible and there is no freedom for movement of these particles. They have a definite shape and they have a definite volume. Coming to liquids, the particles are free to move around. They have a definite volume but they don't have a definite shape. They take the shape of the container in which they are placed. But coming to gases, the particles are free to move and they are fast in their movement. They don't have a definite shape, they don't have a definite volume. They occupy the entire container in which they are placed. The three states of matter are interconvertible just by changing the conditions of temperature and pressure. That is, when a solid is heated, it gets converted into its liquid state, and when that liquid is heated, it gets converted into its gaseous state. Similarly, when a gas is cooled, it gets converted into liquid, and when a liquid is cooled, it gets converted into solids. Classification of matter at the bulk level or at the macroscopic level. At the bulk level or at the macroscopic level, matter is classified into two types: mixtures and pure substances. Mixtures are further subdivided into a homogeneous mixture and a heterogeneous mixture. Likewise, pure substances are further subdivided into elements and compounds. Now, what do you mean by a mixture? A mixture contains two or more substances present in it, and the substances that are present in a mixture are known as its components. As I told you, mixtures are further classified into homogeneous and heterogeneous. What do you mean by a homogeneous mixture? A homogeneous mixture is one in which all the components are present in a single phase. That is, for example, we will consider a sugar solution. Sugar solution is made up of sugar and water. We all know that before mixing, sugar is in solid state and water is in liquid state. But when we mix together, the sugar solution will be in liquid state. That is, it is homogeneous. And if you have observed, the sugar will be uniformly distributed throughout the solution. That is, in the case of a homogeneous mixture, the components are uniformly distributed. Whereas, in a heterogeneous mixture, the components are not present in a single phase and they are not uniform, and sometimes all the components can be observed. Coming to the pure substance are one in which only one type of components are present. That is, in the case of a pure substance, only one kind of components will be present, and these pure substances are further classified into elements or compounds. Now, what do you mean by an element? an element is a pure substance which consists of only one kind of particles, and these elements may be an atom or it may be a molecule. What do you mean by an atom? An atom is the smallest particle of an element that exhibits all the properties of the element. That is, an atom is the smallest particle of an element which exhibits all the properties of the element. Example, you can take the example of sodium atom, potassium atom, etc. Whereas a molecule is formed when atoms combine together. When one or more atoms combine together, they form molecules of that particular element. Whereas a compound is formed when two or more different atoms combine together. When two or more different atoms combine together, they form a compound. Example, water. Water is a compound formed by the combination of hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio 2:1. You may have a doubt, that is, a compound is a mixture of two or more different elements. Then how can it be considered as a pure substance? Coming to that, we will take the example of water. As I have told you, water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is a very good combusting material, that is, it is highly inflammable. Whereas oxygen, it is a supporter of combustion. Without oxygen, there will be no combustion. But water, it is used as a fire extinguisher. I mean to say that even though a compound is a mixture of two or more different elements, it will not exhibit any of the properties of the elements from which it is formed. It will have its unique property, and therefore even though the compound is a mixture of two or more components, it is considered as a pure substance. Dimensional analysis. While working out problems or while calculating something, we will come across certain situations where we need to convert units from one system into another. The method used for converting the units from one system into another is known as factor label method or unit factor method or dimensional analysis. To understand dimensional analysis, we will work out some problems. First problem, a piece of metal is 3 inch long. What is its length in centimeter? And it has been given that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeter. If we look into this problem, the length of a metal is given in inches and you have been asked to convert the unit of length in inch to centimeter, and we all know that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeter. Now, if I take 1 inch and if I divide by 2.54 centimeter, the answer will be 1, because we all know that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeter. When I divide 1 inch by 2.54 centimeter, the answer will be 1. Likely, if I divide 2.54 centimeter by 1 inch, again, even in this case, the answer will be equal to 1 itself, because as I told you, 2.54 centimeter and 1 inch are equal. Now, this factor 1 inch by 2.54 centimeter or 2.54 centimeter by 1 inch is known as unit factor, because the quotient is 1, therefore it is known as unit factor. When any number is multiplied by this unit factor, the value of that number will never change. You multiply any number with this unit factor, its value remains the same, it doesn't change. Now what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to convert 3 inch into centimeter. Now 3 inch can be written as 3 inch into 2.54 centimeter by 1 inch. What have I done? I have multiplied 3 inch by this unit factor. There were 2 unit factors here, but I have multiplied 3 inch by this unit factor. Why did I choose this unit factor? While choosing the unit factor, you should see that the unit of length which I need to get should be in the numerator. Here I want the unit of length in centimeter. So see that the centimeter is in the numerator. In which of the unit factor the unit of length is in centimeter, that is to be chosen. Here centimeter is in the numerator, so I have chosen that unit factor. Now what happens? Inch and inch get cancelled. So this will be equal to 3 into 2.54 centimeter, and if you multiply that, it comes out to be 7.62 centimeter. A jug contains 2 liters of milk. Calculate the volume of milk in meter cube. If you look into this problem, you are supposed to convert the unit of volume from liter to meter cube. Volume is mentioned in liters and you are being asked to convert that into meter cube. We all know that the relationship between liter and cm cube is 1 liter is equal to 1000 cm cube and 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. Now we will find out the unit factor, that is 1 meter by 100 centimeter will be equal to 1, and that is equal to 100 centimeter by 1 meter. You are supposed to choose the unit factor in such a way that the unit to which you are supposed to convert should be in the numerator. Here you are supposed to convert liter into meter cube. Look into the unit factor which has meter in the numerator. So this unit factor 1 meter by 100 centimeter, if you look here, meter is in the numerator, but if you observe here, the unit should be in meter cubes. Therefore what are you supposed to do? We will take this unit factor 1 meter by 100 centimeter and we will cube this. It will not change its value because we all know that 1 meter by 100 centimeter is equal to 1, and when you take the cube of 1, it will be 1 itself. Therefore 1 meter by 100 centimeter, when you cube it, the value does not change, and this will be equal to 1 meter cube by, we all know that 100 cube is nothing but 10 power 6 centimeter cube. Now 2 liter can be written as 2 into 1000 cm cube. This can be further written as 2 into 1000 cm cube and multiplied by the unit factor 1 meter cube by 10 power 6 centimeter cube into centimeter cube get cancelled, and that will be equal to 2 into 1000 can be written as 10 power 3 into 1 meter cube by 10 power 6. When 10 power 6 goes to the numerator, it becomes 10 power minus 6, and 10 power minus 6 into 10 power plus 3 will be equal to 10 power minus 3. Therefore, the answer is 2 into 10 power minus 3 meter cube. Now, we have converted liter into meter cube. That is, 2 liters will be equal to 2 into 10 power minus 3 meter cube. In chemistry, we come across many chemical reactions, and all these chemical reactions takes place according to certain laws, and these laws are known as laws of chemical combination. And the first law is law of conservation of mass. According to this law, matter can neither be created nor destroyed. That is, whenever any chemical reaction takes place, the mass of the reactant and the mass of the product will always remain the same. That is, the amount of reactant reacted and the amount of product formed will always be equal. That is, whenever any chemical reaction takes place, the amount of reactant reacted and the amount of product formed will be the same, and there is no increase or there is no decrease in the mass of the matter that is involved in that particular chemical reaction. Law of definite proportion or composition. This law states that a chemical compound is always found to be made up of the same elements combined together in the same fixed proportion by mass. What is the meaning of this statement? We will consider the example of water. We know that water has a molecular formula H2O, and water is formed by 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. If you take the ratio of masses of hydrogen and oxygen, it is in the ratio 1:8. That is, the mass of hydrogen to the mass of oxygen will be in the ratio 1:8. You may consider a pure water from any source. It might be rainwater, it might be well water, it might be borewell water, it might be a river water, it may be from any source, it might be from any country or any region. Water will always have the formula H2O, and it will always have the ratio of hydrogen and oxygen 1:8 by mass. That is, whatever may be the source, whatever may be the region in which you have taken the chemical compound, it will always have the same fixed proportion by mass. That is the law of definite proportion or combination. Law of multiple proportion. This law states that when 2 elements combine to form two or more chemical compounds, the mass of one element that combine with a fixed mass of other element are in a simple ratio to one another. So, keep it in mind, whenever two elements combine to form two or more compounds, you are supposed to keep the mass of one element a constant. That is, mass of one element is always fixed and the mass of the other element will always be in a simple ratio to one another. To understand the law of multiple proportion clearly, we will take the example of hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen and oxygen combine to form two compounds, that is water and hydrogen peroxide H2O2. Now, if we look into the masses of hydrogen and oxygen in these two compounds, that is water and hydrogen peroxide, in water 2 grams of hydrogen combine with 16 grams of oxygen. In hydrogen peroxide, 2 gram of hydrogen combined with 32 gram of oxygen. You can observe here, in both the compounds, the mass of hydrogen is fixed, that is 2 grams. And if you look into the masses of oxygen, in water 16 gram of oxygen combined with 2 gram of water, 2 gram of hydrogen, and in H2O2 hydrogen peroxide 32 gram of oxygen combined with 2 gram of hydrogen. It is clear that the masses of hydrogen in both the compounds is fixed, that is 2 parts. Now, if we look into the ratio of oxygen, it is in a simple ratio of 16:32, or they are present in the ratio 1:2. That is nothing but the law of multiple proportion. Coming to the next law, Gay-Lussac's law of gaseous volume. This law states that under similar conditions of temperature and pressure, when gases react together, they always react in volumes which bear a simple ratio to one another and to the volume of products. That is, this law states that whenever gases react, they always react in volume which bear a simple ratio to one another and to the volume of products. To understand this law, we will consider certain examples. Hydrogen combines with chlorine to form HCl. Here, if you observe, 1 volume of hydrogen always combined with 1 volume of chlorine and it forms 2 volumes of HCl. That is, the ratio of reactants and products will be 1:1:2. Whenever 1 volume of hydrogen combined with 1 volume of chlorine, it forms 2 volume of HCl, and the ratio of the reactants and products will be 1:1:2. Similarly, when 2 volume of hydrogen combined with 1 volume of oxygen, it forms 2 volume of water. If you look here, the ratio of the reactants and products will be 2:1:2.